You're listening to Rise to Your Purpose, a personal and spiritual development podcast for female entrepreneurs with a mission.
We're your hosts, Brandie and Natalie.
Welcome to another episode of Rise to Your Purpose. This one is a very special episode because you will have your host, Brandie Thomas, me, with a special guest Jessica Murphy, and we're kind of switching gears from business focus to women's health focus. Your health plays a huge part in your business, so this is definitely still tied into your business and how you thrive. Because if you're not thriving in your health and you're struggling with things like infertility or miscarriages or just painful periods, like, yes, I said it, we're diving into all of that on this episode because there's some amazing options that Jessica and I feel so passionate about sharing with you all, and that we feel like as women we need to be advocating for our health, and that is just going to trickle into all areas of our lives, including business. So yes, this is not as business specific, but this is definitely going to be a powerful episode that is going to bring so much value to you as a woman. And we're just so blessed to have the opportunity to share this information with you. So hang around, and we dive into about a 30-minute episode of the Creighton method and NaPro technology, and how just advocating for your health as a woman is so important, and how it can really just change everything about your life. So enjoy. We're talking about the Creighton model of tracking and NaPro technology and why it's so important for women and their health to understand that this is an option for you. So you guys know me, I'm Brandie, and I want Jessica, if you want to just introduce yourself and maybe say how long you've been tracking, and then we can kind of dive into what it is.
Sure. So like Brandie said, I'm Jessica. I know Brandie from back in the Terre Haute days. My husband and I started the Creighton Model and NaPro after 5 years of unexplained infertility. By, like Brandie said, by no means an expert or medical professional, no quick fix or, magic, but we were on it. I started tracking in May, and by November, Kevin and I were pregnant. And in that short amount of time, learned just a mind-blowing amount of information about not just my reproductive cycle, but a ton about my health in general. So when I heard Brandie was beginning this journey, I was just so excited because it is definitely something that more women need to know about. Yes. For sure.
Yes, every woman has the right to know how your menstrual and fertility cycles function in order to understand the way that your body works. And everybody is different, and the technical, like when you're supposed to have peak days and when you're supposed to ovulate, like nobody actually works like that. And so, and unfortunately, most women just have not been provided with this information. So that's why we're on here today. So I'm excited to share. So first question, what is Creighton? And I'm just going to read word for word, like what Creighton is. So this may be a little boring, but it's really important just for us to explain it to you from like the textbook's point of view, because like I said, we're not doctors. So the Creighton Model Fertility Care System, or CRMS, is based upon the knowledge and understanding of the naturally occurring phases of women's fertility and infertility. And so this method of tracking relies upon the standardization, observation, and charting of biological markers that are essential to a woman's gynecological and reproductive health. So women can know your cycle and use this information to maintain your health. And then this also helps couples, because now you can use this knowledge to plan your family and build your future together. So if you're trying to avoid being pregnant or trying to get pregnant, you can use this method of tracking to just help you make decisions as a couple, instead of just like Jeremy and I we felt like we were like, all right, we're just like going to throw a dart and hope something sticks, like we didn't really have yeah, I don't know. We just didn't have the data to help us make decisions of when we should actually be trying to get pregnant versus not get pregnant. And so I'm sure that has, if you guys have been following my story, it's also been about 5 years of infertility, unexplained infertility for me as well. And I love that this doctor that I'm seeing, she's like, there's no such thing as unexplained infertility.
Yeah.
And she's like, we will explain it to you.
Yep.
And so this method of tracking is, and I also love like this, what this says here is fertility is observed as a part of health, not a disease. And so many times I feel like when you're a woman going through infertility, you feel like your body's broken. You feel like you are like struggling with a disease, or like it's just unnatural, and you just have like all these negative connotations or just beliefs about your body and beliefs about your health, instead of just really understanding like we just need to understand our health and understand our cycle, and then we can make informed decisions on that.
Well, and I think too, like you just mentioned, those negative feelings, there's almost like that feeling of shame, right? Like this is the one thing that your body is supposed to do. And so I think when you can't, or you feel like you can't, and I think that's why sometimes we don't have the conversation. But I think when you do start opening up, there's so many women who, to one degree or another, have some sort of struggle with it. So for sure.
Yeah. And so you're not alone, and that's why we're on here, because we want you to know that you're not alone, and there's a community that wants to help you. And I also just really love that this is natural, and I don't have to be prescribed a prescription or take hormones or, do shots. I mean, there may be, depending on your specific need, that may be something that you end up doing, but I like it's not a Band-Aid approach. And I felt like every other doctor I've seen up to this point was just like throwing stuff at me, but not really understanding like, what does my body really need to support a life inside of it? And I also just like, as a mom, so if you're not aware, like, yes, I have a child in my photos, but we adopted Elijah. And, I've been on this journey of just like detoxing everything. And so definitely becoming more aware of like what I'm actually putting in my body. And knowing that this is a more natural approach to fertility is also just something that really aligned with me. And so the advantages of some more advantages than what we've already said of the Creighton model of tracking is it is natural, it's safe, so there's no medical side effects. It's inexpensive because it's covered by insurance. And it's 96.8 to 99.5% effective for avoiding pregnancy, and then 76 to 98% effective for achieving pregnancy in couples of normal fertility. And then it also allows the woman to monitor and maintain both your reproductive health and your gynecological. I don't know why that word's so hard, but I think I'm saying
because
it right.
It just doesn't look right. I mean,
Gynecological health. And it's like a shared method of fertility regulation. So you and your spouse or partner like can kind of go on this journey together, and if he's understanding your cycle as well, like it's just gonna, I think, make that support, like you're gonna have that support, you're gonna have that understanding, and you're both gonna kind of be invested in just growing a healthy family together, if that's the direction you want to go. And then I also like contraceptives. I'm learning so much about them, and just how they really do, they stop your natural, like how your body's actually supposed to be working. And that could like just throw off so much, because it's really just altering your body's normal state of being. And so I don't know if the birth control that I was on for 4 years before we decided to like start trying, like had any, I don't know, like if that could be a reason why we weren't able to get pregnant. Like, what did it do to my hormones? What did it do to like my levels? Like, I don't know. And so many girls like, have been put on birth control since they were like 13,
years,
for like
years and years. Yeah.
or maybe their parents were just trying to like prevent teen pregnancy, like for many reasons. Like my sister, she was put on birth control for acne. And I'm like, what is that? They're not trying to have a family yet. But I'm like, she's 30 and has been on contraceptive birth control for years. And so like, what is that going to do for her when she actually, so I've been educating her on this, and I'm like, you need to look into this. And so I like this because I think girls as young as like their first period should understand how to use this method of tracking, because as you're growing and developing it, you can learn so much about your body and like actually become aware of like, oh, something is wrong. And you can take this information to the doctor. And make actual informed decisions off of it for your specific health needs. Jess, do you want to talk about the NaPro side of Creighton?
Sure. So the Creighton, the tracking is kind of like, you could think of it as your background information, right? So it's starting to paint this picture. And then I would say the NaPro side is how you fine tune or make changes, adjustments in what your body's doing naturally on its own. And like Brandie mentioned, this is, they really do try and keep the solutions as natural as possible. And sometimes it's as much as, taking a different multivitamin than you were taking, which it just, again, blows my mind. So the NaPro technology is based on what you're getting from Creighton, and it helps you to plan both, if you're trying to get pregnant, if you're not trying to get pregnant. It can go into if you're breastfeeding for, couples that are later on, help going into menopause, right? And tracking all of these different changes that your body's going through. So it connects your menstrual cycle with your reproductive cycle, and it helps you to make any life transitions smooth and healthy. If you're having maybe irregular cycles, or if you're having really painful cycles, if you're having like PCOS or endometriosis, all of these different things, it helps you to solve those problems or solve those issues that you're having. So in my specific case, the NaPro side, we went for what we thought was just, infertility, and it opened this book into a major thyroid issue that I had, which was connected to anxiety and depression. And it was amazing to see. I think the goal of the program is it takes your reproductive cycle, but it shows you just how connected everything about, the female body is. And so it helps with, for us, our multiple, losses in pregnancy. Again, PCOS, postpartum depression, any hormone abnormalities that you may have with your progesterone or your estrogen, and again, those other health issues. And so that NaPro takes what you're seeing on your Creighton chart, and it puts a plan together for how you can not just make your reproductive system healthier, but just your overall women's health improved as well.
Yeah. And that's the part I'm excited about, is that they're taking my specific data and then they're able to come up with a specific plan for me.
Custom. Yeah.
And I just love like how God is used. So the reason I was introduced to Creighton is my friend JJ, which hopefully I'll get her on. She just had surgery, so was unable to join us, but she's actually a nurse too. So if we are able to line her up with another interview around this, like she'll have so much value to bring, because she can actually talk to the medical side. And so she lives in Texas and was actually doing like video chats with Dr. Del Coco. So we all go to Magnificant in like Carmel area. And she's like, have you heard of Creighton? Have you heard of NaPro? Like, I'm seeing this doctor. Like, I think she found her on Instagram. Like, I don't even know. Yeah. And she's like, you need to start following her. And she's like, aren't you in like Indiana and like close to Indianapolis? I was like, yeah. She's like, you should see how far away she is. And lo and behold, it's like a 30-minute drive from my house to the doctor's office. And she's like, schedule an appointment. If nothing else, like just schedule an intro appointment and see if this is right for you. Since you're so close. And since then I've like met Dr. Del Coco, and so that she's the doctor that we work with and does the NaPro side, but then you have a Creighton practitioner who works with you on your tracking and helping you understand like actually how to track. And I forgot to grab my tracker to show you guys.
I have mine. I brought mine.
Yeah. So can you hold it up? Do you have it? Yeah. And
well, it's going to look crazy. It's going to look crazy, but
yeah. So mine looks nothing like that.
Which is the whole point, right? Yeah. Like every woman is so different. But it starts here at think of this as the beginning of your cycle, and you're tracking every day all the way through to the end, whatever that end may be for you.
Yeah. And you can see like how different her cycles have been. And that's why this data is so important if we're not actually tracking it. And so like mine looks completely different to hers. And I'm in my second cycle of tracking. And it's like already showing me where I'm lacking in certain areas. And for me, what's great so like I have low mucus right now. And that mucus is what you use to track your cycle. And, like, so
you do have to get very comfortable with your body, which I think for some women was for me, is kind of a barrier. But if anything, like it just kind of frees you up and allows you to learn like your body is talking to you, right? Through one way or another. And so it helps you to just, like listen to what your body's trying to tell you.
Yeah. And I was like, honestly, like I was nervous. I'm like, what am I going to have to do? Like actually track, but it's so easy. You just like wipe and you like check if there's mucus on the toilet paper and go to the bathroom. And then you wipe again and see if you have mucus after you go to the bathroom. And so it was super easy. Like it wasn't like invasive. I'm like, what am I going to have to do to like get this data? But it's like the hardest part is just remembering to wipe and check your mucus before you go to the bathroom. I found out I'm somebody who just holds until I'm about to explode. And like, all right, I need to work on my bathroom habits. Like I should not be waiting until like the end to go pee.
Right.
But it was very discouraging, like the first cycle of tracking, because I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to have a peak day. And then I started my period, and that happened to be the day I went and saw Hannah, which is our Creighton practitioner. And it was just like, well, good news is we know like you're low on mucus, and mucus is how the sperm actually gets to the egg. And this is solvable by a vitamin. And so like, I don't have to take some crazy drug that's going to make my hormones all out of whack, and which I've done before. And I've had a chemical pregnancy and like cried for a week, like, or have some sort of, test that's invasive or surgery that's invasive. It's so simple and it's natural. And like, I'm excited, like on cycle 2, I'm kind of seeing the same thing happen. And so when I actually I'm going to have my blood work done next Friday. And that's going to check my like progesterone and hormone levels. And then when I go see Dr. Del Coco, she's probably going to be like, okay, we probably need to put you on this vitamin for your mucus. And then whatever my progesterone levels and hormone levels, like she can take that data and come up with, like you said, a customized plan for me. And, it's been 5 years of infertility, and I'm kind of like my heart and my head are in different places of, do I want to get pregnant at this point? Like, so I'm trying to, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm going to be healthier and I'm going to understand at least why. And we're going to have a plan to be like, we're either going to get pregnant this year or we're going to probably pursue adoption again. And so just finally having answers is the biggest blessing for me, regardless of if I get pregnant or not. Like, at least I'll just understand why and not have to feel broken anymore, which is something that I've personally struggled with. And when I have grief come up, it's usually grieving my body. I've worked through a lot of the grief around not having a baby. Like, Elijah has definitely filled that void of being, wanting to be a mom, regardless, like, of how he came to me. Like, I'm a mom now, and that's so I don't necessarily struggle with the grief of that side of infertility. Now it's more of just like a reminder of my body being broken and just being frustrated around that. So I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you've been on an infertility journey, like, you can relate to that. And so that's why we're sharing, because I don't want anybody to continue feeling shame or guilt or just confusion or frustration for your body, when there's actually, like, there's actually a system out there that can at least give you answers. And I know at the end of the day, that's what most women want, is just the answer to their question, why? Why me? Why is this happening?
Well, and I think for some women, I mean, even like you said, I mean, you guys have a beautiful family right now. And so even if, getting pregnant isn't like immediately or a part of your long-term plan, for some women it's not. But if they've always had an irregular cycle, right? This can help you find out why and help you overall improve your health, which is, I mean, only gonna be beneficial to you. So and the same thing with, like, I think of my parents' generation who are starting to, transition maybe into menopause, right? For some women that can seem to go on for a really long time. Well, there could, there's reasons behind that. And so that's like the awesome part about this method, is that the whole, it doesn't matter at what stage you are in your life or what your goal is. It takes what your body's doing and what it's telling you, and it just overall helps to, improve your health for sure.
Right. Yeah. So, like, if you're somebody listening and you're like, I do not want to get pregnant, but you're having heavy periods, or like she said, and your cycle is just all over the place, or you're having really bad cramping, or like just other things are coming up, this is really more about just overall women's health. But there's the pro side of it too, of helping you with your family planning if you're at that stage. So for me right now, I'm just like more excited about my health journey and like getting to a state where if I do want to get pregnant, if my heart kind of comes around to that side, then we know what to do, and we have everything in place to get to that point. So that's what I'm excited about, and just being able to have, I like, within my first cycle, I have answers to something, and like, it's just encouraging. And so that's why I'm passionate about talking about this and sharing this. And you guys know I've shared my infertility journey with you and my adoption journey with you guys. So I'm an open book. So definitely, like, obviously I've already told you about my cycle on this live. So if you have questions, please like drop them in the comments. I'm trying to watch, but I know we started off a little weird. So drop hashtag replay if you're watching this on the replay. If you have questions, Justin and I will definitely come back and look at those and try to point you in the right direction. I'm also going to drop the resource. There's a website, it's fertilitycare.org. And that kind of just shares a lot of what Creighton is and what NaPro is. And so I will drop that link in the comments as well, so you guys have access to that resource. But there's multiple resources on, like, I just Googled, that was the first one I came up with. And Matt, you get a book too if you actually do decide to go through a program. But NaPro and Creighton, like, ask your OBGYN about it, and maybe they can, if you are wanting to do this, maybe they can refer you to a specialist in your area. Or you can do like what my friend did, who's in Texas, and she's like video chatting with people, in my neck of the woods here in Indiana. And, with all the COVID stuff, like, so many doctors are open to telecommunicating now. So if this is something that you're interested in, like, definitely reach out and find resources. Is there anything else you want to share? Because I know like this actually worked for you, Jess, and that was encouraging when you commented on my post, and I was like, what? I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be like, have a success story too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I won't go into a ton of details, but yeah, we, our practitioner here in Terre Haute, after, the long story short was we could get pregnant, and then we kept losing the baby. The farthest we had was 12 weeks, and we had 2 that were much earlier. And it got to the point where after a while, you know, he didn't know what else to do and wanted to send us to a specialist. And the specialist was, you know, an IVF. I don't have any, you know, negative feelings towards IVF. I think how you start your family is a blessing either way. But for Kevin and I, my husband, we knew that maybe just that wasn't the right road for us to take. And we actually found Creighton through the website for the Archdiocese of Indianapolis, which was odd, but it is, because it is so uninvasive, a lot of Christian and Catholic families really do gravitate towards it. So we started, and the same with Brandie. Within my first, you know, charted cycle, right away, my Creighton practitioner said, "Well, has anybody ever told you have low progesterone?" No. And just by looking at these little squares, she could tell that. And when my blood work came back, you know, they take it at a certain point in your cycle, and my progesterone should have been, you know, super, super high, and it barely registered. And it's like, well, you know, you can't support a pregnancy that way. And it's because my cycles had always been regular, everything like to the day. And so it was always frustrating because it's like, well, isn't that all it takes to have a baby? And there's all these other little pieces. And so between the charting and the blood work, at certain days in my cycle, I took a progesterone supplement. And once we did get pregnant, I had to take just pure progesterone every 3rd day. Kevin gave me a shot, and that was it. That was all it took. And you know, a special prenatal vitamin. That was it. And it really is just, it's amazing what, you know, it's just amazing what, how wonderful the female body is in whatever state it is. And if we just listen and we're that advocate for our health, which is so important, you know, amazing things can happen. So
well, I have low progesterone too, and my old holistic doctor, like, she's the one who did figure out I had what I call the mother effer gene, the
me too.
MTHFR, but it was like mother effer, like
it does
to abbreviate it.
Mother effer gene.
So it basically means like you can't absorb folic acid. So like I had been taking a prenatal vitamin, and it had was literally doing nothing. So if I had gotten pregnant, like I could have put my child at risk for, is it scoliosis or and so just making sure I was on the right prenatal vitamin was huge. But she's like, I was like a 0 point something in my progesterone, and it's supposed to be like a 16, like something like that. But who knows, because I wasn't charting my cycle, if she actually tested me on the right day for my progesterone. And then she had me be on a cream, and she's just like literally I was just on it every day. And I'm like, you're not supposed to be on it every day. So like I was doing this whole thing wrong because I was working with somebody who really didn't know like what they were doing. Honestly, with like the women's health, and which is scary and like sad that like so many women are just totally having horrible things. Like I don't want to say horrible, but they're potentially doing treatments or having just the wrong stuff put in their body. Like you may have the wrong dosage, or you may be doing it at the wrong time, like, and because you're just not aware of how your cycle works. And so for the first time in 5 years, I feel like I have at least a plan and answers. And so that's why I'm so just excited and passionate about sharing this with just women in general, just so that you can feel empowered about your own health journey and, like Jess said, advocate for yourself. And I'm glad like I have at least finally got here, but it has been a few doctors to get to this point. So we just are hopefully shortening the learning curve for you women listening. And this can just help you in so many different ways. Like, yes, we're talking about infertility and pregnancy, but like we said, like this can help with just ovarian cysts, premature, PMS, irregular or abnormal bleeding, like postpartum depression, premature, hormonal abnormalities. There's just so many other health issues that NaPro and Creighton can help you uncover and then actually potentially like solve for. And it's coming from at a natural perspective first. And then if you need like an actual treatment, like they have the data and they know exactly the right dosage and the right timing. And yeah, it's just exciting to like think something so simple is such like, I don't even know what the word is, but it's just providing so much.
It's hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why, I mean, I went in with our end goal of like trying to get pregnant, right? And, through everything, it uncovered this huge, thyroid issue that was linked to, weight gain and depression and anxiety and all of these other things, which are all, play a role in trying to get pregnant.
Right.
So, and they've treated me for that. And that alone has made, a huge difference, been a huge benefit in improving, my overall health. So, it's like I said, like the biggest thing I've learned from this is just like how amazing and intricate like the female body is. And you can learn a lot from it. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. We will wrap this up. I don't see any questions on the comments section, but like I said, if you just have questions or, are looking for resources, please feel free to reach out to Jess or myself. We're open books, and at least I know I am. So
I am too.
So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we hope you got value from this. And thank you, Jess, for being on here with me today and sharing.
Yeah, thanks for asking me. Yeah.
All right, everybody, have a great day, and we'll see you later.
Bye, Brandie.
Bye.
Rise Your Purpose will be a weekly podcast. Our hope is to inspire and educate you on your entrepreneurial journey to help you fuel your passions, live your purpose, and build a business that works for you.
You can subscribe, rate, and comment on any podcast app. We'd love to hear from you. It makes us so happy to see you tuning in to the show. So if you're on Instagram, let us know what your favorite part of the show was by taking a screenshot of the episode you tuned into and tag us at Live Victorious on your story. Let us know what your favorite quote or takeaway from the episode was so that we can be inspired to keep creating content like this for you.
To learn more about us and get involved with our community of mission-driven entrepreneurs, join our Facebook group, Purpose Partners, where we partner together in faith and business. So until next time, build a business that works for you and stay in alignment with your mission.